Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you the stocks that I bought with a $100 deposit into my taxable M1 stock brokerage account. What I'm doing with my current strategy is I'm doing 2 deposits per week. In the first part of the week, I just put the $100 in there and I let M1 do the stock picking based upon my allocations. And you can see the allocations with the actual and target below. But on Fridays, or sometimes I do these videos on Thursdays, I pick 5 stocks and I put $20 into each of those for a total of $100. So what we're looking at right now, this is my taxable M1 stock brokerage account, my Average Joe Dividends portfolio. And within this portfolio, go to the holdings tab, I have 52 different positions, and they are sorted by the largest position, which is SCHD. And I'll just scroll down so you can see what's in here. Just household names, really, like McDonald's, Pepsi, Home Depot, Starbucks, stuff like that. And then, Coca-Cola. And I'll leave a link below so you can see exactly what's in the portfolio and what percent I have allocated to each of the positions. Back to the front page here, you can see the 1-year return of the portfolio has been 18.55%, or on a money weighted return. With dividends, it's at 22.3%. You can see we were at highs here close to $280,000 at the end of November. By December, the portfolio has retreated a little bit. We were down in the mid 260s, and then we're back up to the mid 270s. And we're in the low 270s. So really don't know which direction we're headed. But overall, though, over the last year, though, it's been up and to the right. So let's go into the activity log here. We'll see what those 5 stocks were that I chose to buy. But we see there's an additional buys in here. There's 3 extra ones, and those are the dividend reinvestments from Allstate. You can see these 3 dividends rolled in this morning from Allstate for $6.08, HP $7.39, then ADP was $4.43. These will be dripped right back into those positions. We're going to see the next dividend grow slightly just with the dividend reinvestment. So click here on the 8 buys, and I'll show you the fractional shares that were purchased as a result, just to kind of show you even these fractional shares are going to move the needle a little bit with dividend income and just the portfolio getting larger over time. So first up, American Express, $20, and that bought 0.06662 of a share. And then ADP, this is a dividend drip, and it bought 0.01522 of a share. So tiny slivers here, but I'll show you, though, it will make a little bit of a difference in the next dividend. And over time, when I'm doing these constant drips and these constant $100 deposits twice a week, I'll show you the progress over the last year, or even go back further for the past 4 years I've been doing these videos. And a Costco, $20, that bought 0.02188 of a share. And these positions so far are going to be low. It's not really going to change the dividend income very much, but these companies like to raise their dividend quite aggressively. But they pay a low dividend right now, especially Costco and American Express. I believe they both pay under 1%. But I know Costco for sure pays under 1%. But Costco, every couple years, has a special dividend. So their dividend is actually a little bit higher than it is on paper. Next up, Starbucks bought 0.21666 of a share. A lot of 666 numbers in here, it's kind of ominous. Caterpillar up next, $20, and that bought 0.05531 of a share. And then Procter & Gamble, $20, that bought me 0.12058 of a share. Allstate, that $6.08 dividend drip, bought me 0.03155 of a share. And then the last dividend drip was from HP. That's 739. Dripped in, bought 0.22503 of a share of HP. So let's go on over to my Google Docs spreadsheet. I'll leave a link to this spreadsheet below in the description, as well as the M1 links to the pie so you can see what's in the portfolio. And just full disclosure, this portfolio, this is about 15% of my total net worth. So I'm usually not a stock picker with, most of my net worth. I kind of do it in a smaller portfolio here, even though this amount is not small, but this portfolio was not also this large. This is just what it's grown into over time. But most of my net worth is in ETFs like VTI, VU, SCHD. So let's just go over the sheet real quickly. It shows the company, the ticker symbol, the share price using a Google Finance function. Here's the average share price that I purchase into each of these investments. Number of shares I own using a VLOOKUP on the M1 data tab, which we're going to get into in just a few minutes. We're going to paste some information into the M1 data tab to update the new shares of those 8 positions where we bought more fractional shares. And with the simple copy and paste, it's going to do that automatically. I don't have to change the shares, my average share price or cost basis. It's going to update that automatically. It's pretty cool. And then here is the value, and then cost basis. Here's my gain or loss, and then the gain or loss expressed in a percentage. Anything above 25% will be in green. Here's the quarterly dividends paid for each of these positions. I have to put these in manually. I looked them up, and I'll show you kind of how I update the sheet here in a few minutes too in that regards. For AbbVie, there's a new dividend date there. We're going to update that in a few minutes. And then here's the current yield if I were to buy more shares of, say, AbbVie. Here's the yield on my cost, and the yield on my cost for, say, AbbVie is higher because I purchased AbbVie at a lower average share price. You can see I purchased at 140 when now it's at 180, which makes my yield on cost higher. Everything in the sheet is arranged by the pay date, and let's just do it really quickly. We'll grab AbbVie, we'll grab the new dividend date, and what I do is I look these up, like PNC and Apple. I looked those up already. They have not been announced, but AbbVie was announced. So I use this link that's on my sheet below here for dividend raises or dividend declarations. And so dividendinvestor.com is a really good source to try to find the new dividend dates. So I'll go on over there, and we'll type for AbbVie, ABBV, and we'll get that new dividend date. And I add 1 day extra because M1 has a 1-day delay. So I'm going to be adding 1 day of a delay on that. Here's the dividend pay dates announced for February 14th. So we're going to put in 2/15/25 in the sheet. I've already accounted for the dividend raise in there. You can see that nice dividend raise that was announced prior. So 2/15/25 for AbbVie. Here we go. We got the new pay date there. And we're also going to take a look at, let me show you something real quick before we shuffle the deck. We're going to look at the last dividend that was paid from AbbVie. I received $40.56, and that was on, was it the 15th? 15th or 16th, I just changed the date. So that was my last dividend, but look at my new dividend is going to be $43.32. That's because of dividend drips and also the dividend raise as well. So let's go ahead and we will resort this, shuffle the deck, and it's going to push AbbVie down. So once these dividend payers pay, they don't go away. They just come back and they pay 3 months later. Except for the monthly payers, which are in blue, which are O and BST, every month they just go to the next month. And there's AbbVie right here at 2/15 at 43.32. What I've done is I've typed in the current dividend of the 5 positions where I purchased the fractional shares with a $100 deposit. So we're going to see these go up as I grab the new data. And we're also going to see a next dividend go up for these three because of the dividend drips. So we're going to update that, and I'll show you how we do that. We go on over to M1, and then from the holdings tab, I'll grab everything from the name column, go all the way down. What I used to do is I would type this in manually, and it got so tedious. I'm like, there's got to be an easier way. So I came up with the M1 data tab. Let's park this in over here. And with the M1 data tab, it's going to be using VLOOKUPs on this tab, on the dividend portfolio tab, and pulling data from the M1 data tab. We're also going to see, in addition to these positions, the dividend changing. The next dividend is going to change. We're going to see these go up on these five, or these three, those two, and then these three as well. And we're also going to see the cash flow average for monthly, quarterly, and annual go up. It's going to go up by just a few cents, maybe like 10 cents or so, because a lot of the dividend payers here, let's just take a look at American Express. It's at 0.93%, so low. 1.5% for Caterpillar, 2.63 for Starbucks. That's the highest one so far. We'll take a look at Procter & Gamble, 2.43, close to Starbucks, but look at Costco at 0.5% dividend yield. And usually my quarterly dividends for Costco, it's going to be $3, may go up a penny, may not even go up at all. But look at that special dividend that paid a little while back, I think it was last year, it was $35.69. So like I said, Costco is a little bit, you know, don't want to say deceptive in their dividend yield. When you count in the special dividend, it's a bit higher. So let's go ahead and put that data into the M1 data tab. We're going to see those amounts change on the dividend portfolio tab. I'm going to scroll up and go over these one by one and just kind of show you the incremental change that even with a $100 deposit and the small dividend drips, that it does make a difference. It does move the needle. So first up, Procter & Gamble, the old dividend was going to be $10.46. Now it's going to be $10.58 in February. And then Costco is going to move up 3 cents from $3.02 to $3.05, and that's pretty good. With it was $20, but a 0.5% yield. Costco, this has been a great investment for me. I've more than doubled my money with Costco just in the stock appreciation, and then getting those special dividends, and then these small quarterly dividends. It's been a good investment. And people, I've heard for years that Costco is expensive. It's always been expensive. Same kind of with Apple and Microsoft. But when do you get into those stocks? I mean, to me, I think it's a better idea to dollar cost average into quality investments, no matter how expensive they are. And then ADP, this is a dividend drip from 443 to 446. And then HP moving from 739 to 745. And then Allstate 608 to 611. And then these are the $20 ones. So American Express moving from 473 to 477. Then Caterpillar from 804 to 812. And then Starbucks, excuse me, Starbucks moving from 1066 to 1079. And let me show you on the sheet too. There's some dividend increases I'm expecting here. We're going to do just January only. I'm going to show you. So in the month of January, based on the last increases, hopefully Black Hills in January give me 4%, Yum 10. Let's look at 10%. That would be approximately 72 cents additional, getting close to $8 with Yum. And that's just from the dividend increase with no extra dollars invested. Some of these are more smaller ones, 2, 3, 4%. But we have some double-digit ones with Yum and American Express. Hopefully American Express can do 16% again. But none of these have announced their their new dividend. I just kind of want to show you that what we're looking forward to with those increases, those 5 in January alone. So I see a lot of these increases, multiple ones every month. It's great to see that. And then in the next videos, when they do announce their dividend increase, I'll of course go over that and show you the effect of it. So let's go to the cash flow average here. We're moving from the monthly from 1,034.63 to 1,034.81. And then quarterly is going up, of course, as well from 3,103.90 to 3,104.42. And then annually moving from 415.60 to 12,417.68. Let's delete that out. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the the monthly one, 1,034.81, and we're going to put that on the monthly average dividend tracking tab. Scroll all the way to the bottom here. If I do a control end, it stops the video. Just kind of annoying, so I gotta scroll all the way down there. So 1034.81, and it's gonna be very modest. Yeah, 18 cents. And that was the result of the Allstate HPQ, ADP dividend drips, and the $100 deposit. So it added 18 cents of additional dividend income to the portfolio going forward every month going forward. Some of these are larger, some of them are smaller. Just depends. Like Union Pacific, they just had a dividend drip alone. That was the only event, and it moved it by a penny. But there's other things like SCHD, when they increased their dividend in December, it moved the monthly income up $15.50. So you can see though, these just add up. We'll go back to the top when I started tracking these in 2022, that it was at 766, and we're at 1034 now. So it's really moved the needle. So let's go to the Dividend Tracker tab. Actually, hold on one second. Let's go over one thing here. Oh, looks like I removed those dividends. I didn't mean to remove those. I'll put those back. I would actually paid. I should probably put those back. So we can do the count up, 739. But I was going to show you the one dividend I'm going to wake up to in the morning. There we go, 608. So corrected that. So tomorrow morning I will be waking up and receiving money from Kimberly-Clark. So $12.86 will go into the account, and I'll show you kind of with M1 how you can see that too. I usually don't put the dividend onto the sheet until I've actually received the actual dividend. But we'll look this one up here real quick. Go in the portfolio, we'll find Kimberly-Clark. And then I'll show you how M1 kind of shows you that dividend. There's KMB. KMB has kind of been a stagnant one for me, where it's really only the dividends themselves have really kept this one afloat. Otherwise, it hasn't really done a lot over the last year. It's gone up a little bit, but it hasn't been great. So here's the dividends earned when I click on the 1 month. Sometimes you have to go to the 3-month view. So 1236 will be the new dividend. Looks like I purchased some fractional shares there. So that's what I'll wake up to. So I'll put 1236. And then tomorrow what I'll be doing is I will be dripping that, well, not tomorrow, on Monday. So on Monday, the event will be the KMB, Kimberly-Clark dividend drip along with a $100 deposit. And then what I do is on Mondays, I let M1 do the picking, and that's based upon my allocations. And we can see where we're underweighted. Everything is going to go into the dividend portfolio. So wherever we're underweight in the dividend portfolio, it's going to go there. So don't know yet until that money hits the account of where it's actually going to go. So let's go on to the Dividend Tracker tab. I've been doing these videos since January 2021. Here's the starting portfolio value. Full dividends paid in January 2021. Start tracking it by the quarters as well. And then the quarter on quarter percent increase, and then the dollar increase. Annual dividends. See, 2022 finally got over $1,000 there. We got over $10,000 in 2023. And then 2024, we're at $11,609 for the total dividends for the year. And here we are for the portfolio value. November was the high, so we're still not there. Here's the dividends paid. And then here is the current average monthly dividend. I look at this as like a monthly paycheck, where I could draw this, but of course it's average because the first 2 months of each quarter pay the lowest, and then the last month of the quarter always pays the highest. And that's illustrated right here with October, November, December, where it kind of goes small, small, large. There was an anomaly though with SCHD where it paid a couple times in one quarter, and kind of threw things off for where June is usually the large paying month. It's usually March, June, and it's spread into July. You can see there. So March, June, September, and then December. So there's a little bit of change up there. So we've added, for the monthly increase on the monthly dividend, we've added 24 cents. You can see last month I added 32.65. Then SCHD with their, sometimes they announce a little bit higher, lower dividends. There's a lower dividend that was announced in Q3 than compared to Q2. Q2 had a very high dividend, and Q3 just didn't quite match it, so it was a little bit lower. Here's the month-over-month gain, 0.02%. We've just started the month. And here's the annual dividends now at $12,417. We've added $2.84 of annual dividends with so far what we've done in December only. There's the $100 deposit. We'll close the video out. We'll go over the other 85% of my total net worth. Like I said before, 15% of my total net worth is right here in the dividend portfolio. Let's go over the rest of it, and this is what I recommend to others. Of course, I'm not a financial professional. You can't don't take my word, do your own research. I'm just showing you what I've done, and it's worked pretty well for me, and that's to build a solid foundation of ETFs. And over at Vanguard, I have an IRA, Roth, and taxable brokerage account. You see the value of everything is at over $471,000. Here's my current employer 401k. I've been employed with them since March 2020, and I have not maxed out my contributions every year. For a couple years I did, and I've kind of backed off a little bit after my divorce, and essentially it's just I'm paying for everything in my house and all bills, so that's why I've kind of scaled back a little bit with the 401k, but I'm pretty comfortable with my level of what I have in pre-tax retirement. I have over $1 million in pre-tax retirement contributions, IRA, 401k. So I'm kind of coasting a little bit there, getting the company match. And then over at M1, I have an IRA there that's valued at over $704,000. Of course, this is changing with the live markets, and you just never know what tomorrow is going to bring as well as the market. So again, that's my dividend portfolio. Here is my 1-year emergency fund over at M1. Getting 4% interest in Synchrony. I have a 6-month emergency fund getting 4.1%. Here's 2 months approximately of expenses, a little bit more over at Capital One. And if I maintain this, I usually like to keep no more than $10,000 over at Capital One. I'll push the extras to Synchrony with the higher interest rate of 4.1%. So I'm going to wait probably for my next paycheck and then see where the surplus is at and probably move the extra on over to Synchrony. Here's my home value, $320, right around there. I probably should include like realtor fees if I were to sell the home, but I'm just keeping it simple right now and just listing that. It's more for motivation to get my mortgage paid off. But here's my credit card balance right now as it stands. I don't ever carry a balance over to pay interest. I have in the past when I first started out in my 20s and had student loan debt, credit card debt, things like that. Learned my lesson there. It's been many years since I've paid credit card interest. And then here is my mortgage that I said I'm trying to pay this off. I'm adding between $500 to $700 in extra payments every month, just to kind of lower this principal. And right now the game plan is to likely sell this. So if we can get it over 190, I would be in a good position for the taxes. I would have enough to pay off the house and also enough to pay off the taxes and the capital gains for these positions. I may maybe go to 195. We'll see what happens. If I had something like a job loss or something like that, it would probably accelerate it, and I would do it quicker to lower my expenses. But as long as I'm currently employed, I'm going to probably maybe wait till this goes up to maybe 195. We'll see, and then liquidate it. So I have a little bit of an extra, to actually celebrate maybe the payoff of the home as well. Have a couple thousand extra to do something kind of special after paying off the home. Anyway, so here's my total net worth. It is back in the 1.7s. I was in the 1.8s in December, but that doesn't worry me. We can go in I can go in the 1.6s and 1.5s. I'm sticking with this plan in 2025. So here's the breakdown in stocks, in home equity, and cash. Carrying a lot of cash. I certainly don't want to carry. I'm going to probably creep up to $100,000 mark soon if I keep doing what I'm doing here, and may have to maybe push some into the M1 account or do something maybe Roth, add to the Roth, either at Vanguard or open one up at M1. We'll see about that. So don't know what I'm going to do there. And then again, here's the pre-tax, 401k millionaire, over 1 million there, and then 694. This is after tax. This is stuff I can actually tap into. I'm not 59 and a half years old yet, so I consider this kind of, can't put my hands on it without paying, some penalties, things like that. I don't want to either. I don't want to stop that compounding. I'm going to leave it alone. Here's the breakdown, U.S. and international. And then here's my average monthly dividend when you look at everything from Vanguard, from my 401k. I know a lot of times people never count this. They don't look at this from an income standpoint in your investments in your IRAs, your 401ks, but take a look at them. I bet most of them do pay a dividend. I know a lot of the the ones that are date oriented, those kind of retirements funds, those still pay a dividend, a lot of them, those funds, but I think they pay annually on those. But these are quarterly payers, all of these. And same with this, the Fidelity S&P 500. So you should check them and just see how those are doing. And what I did is I took the 2024 dividend for those, and then made them monthly as far as their payment based upon my shares. And every year these seem to be going up for the most part. All these seem to be going up consistently, except for the international one is a little bit variable. But the U.S. ones like VU, VTSAX, VTI, those ones, and especially SCHD, keep on moving upwards. So I take the average monthly dividend for those, including interest from savings accounts, and you can take a look at what my average monthly dividend is. With my home paid off, I could live very comfortably off of $3,471. I mean, quite easily live off that. But I know by the time I'm 59 and a half, I have about 8 years left that I could probably get close to doubling this just with contributions and then with the dividends going up. So I could likely have close to double that in 8 years, and I wouldn't even be spending my dividends, and wouldn't have to also erode or sell any of my shares. So my shares will remain the same, and every year I'd be having a problem of my dividends going up. So let's take a look at my net worth though over time. I started tracking this in November 2022, and I was at over 1.2 million. And I know one of my listeners, you commented on what my net worth was in my mid 40s. And just to let you know, I reached millionaire status, I think, when I was around 39 years old, and that was when I was married. So technically, my individual net worth then was about $500,000, because what happened was I was divorced in 2022, and I forget what our total net worth was, but we were well over 2 million at that point. I would say it was probably about 2.4 ish for everything. I didn't quite get exactly half. It's hard to do that, but you can see this is roughly where I started at, and it was in June of 2022. And once the assets were transferred over to me, this is kind of the starting point a little bit, and you can see how that's gone up, from 1.2 with a couple downs as well. And especially from December, I was over at 1.8s and then back in the 1.7s. Again, we don't know what the future holds, for the stock market, because I'm so heavily invested in the stock market. I can go into the 1.6s. Who knows? I will not panic, because really what I'm trying to do is just invest in, tried and true assets, blue chip stocks, and then build dividends that I can just live off of and not have to worry about it. So when the market does tank, I don't have to cut back on my expenses. I can just live off of my dividends and not worry about it, and not have to worry about selling my shares at a huge discount. That's the main reason why I started this portfolio. Was I did not want the stock market dictating when I could retire or step back. I wanted my dividends to kind of state that for me, and pay my bills. Even in some of the toughest times, a lot of these companies like Coke, Pepsi, they've been raising their dividends through thick and thin. So if I have a good, diversified portfolio of, trusted dividend payers, it's very unlikely that they're all going to cut their dividends, let alone just stop paying them totally. That, I think if that happened, we'd have bigger problems to sort out. So let me go back to my picks real quick to close this video out. And thanks for sticking to the end of the video. Just help me out. Click the like button. Also subscribe. And that's what really helps me out. I'm not trying to sell you guys anything. I have no merch. Not trying to make extra money on it, or affiliate links or stuff like that. It's just I'm trying to chronicle this and kind of show you guys the pathway I've taken to build this portfolio up. So my picks again were American Express, Costco, Starbucks, Procter & Gamble, Caterpillar, and then the smaller amounts again were the dividend